My name is Aman Brar, CEO of text recruiting tool Canvas, and I'm next on the RecTech podcast.
Welcome to RecTech, the podcast where recruiting and technology intersect. Each month, you'll hear from vendors shaping the recruiting world, along with recruiters who'll tell you how they use technology to hire talent. Now, here's your host, the mad scientist of online recruiting, Chris Russell.
All right, let's do this. It's time for RecTech, the only podcast that helps employers and recruiters connect with more candidates through technology-inspired conversations. If you're listening to hear both recruiters and HR tech vendors talk about how they use tech to find talent. Today's episode is sponsored by RecruitingHeadlines.com, the recruiting news aggregator. A couple of years ago, I was getting frustrated with trying to keep up with all the industry news happening in recruiting, so I fixed that by creating a site that indexed all the popular recruiting blogs and news sites into one place. So at 4 p.m. every day, Eastern Time, you can get an email that goes out with all the day's headlines so you can see what's happening in recruiting, HR, and HR tech. Subscribe for free at RecruitingHeadlines.com. Now onto the show. Today we'll be talking about hot topics in text recruiting with the CEO of Canvas, based in Indianapolis, Aman Brar. Welcome to RecTech. It's good to have you.
Great to be here. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, so tell us how you got into the HR tech space, what's your background, and how it all started.
Yeah, so I've spent the majority of my career in the technology space, both in Silicon Valley and here in the Midwest. And most recently, my co-founders and I at Canvas had scaled a cloud computing management company from 50 folks here in Indiana to well over 1,500 globally after an acquisition. Mm-hmm. So the company that we were leading was called Apparatus, and we were acquired by a global consultancy called Virtusa. And really, Canvas is the product that we wished we had as we were going through that scale journey. So it was just sitting there right in front of us, and we decided to seize the moment.
I guess tell us how the tool works briefly, and I'm curious to hear kind of what a typical user experience is like from a recruiter standpoint, I guess.
Yeah, so we launched June 13th, about just a little over 6 months ago, as the world's first text-based interviewing platform. So our clients use the tool for top-of-the-funnel screening, and then also to kind of stay in touch and engage with candidates. It's a really beautiful kind of web-based SaaS experience like you would expect. Recruiters can also engage with candidates via our iOS and Android app. What's great about Canvas is candidates don't need to do anything. They can simply engage and respond via text. So it might be a candidate asking a basic screening, answering a basic screening question, mm-hmm. but also an opportunity for candidates to ask questions about benefits or other information they might be seeking before both parties decide to take that next step. So it's been really effective at the top of the funnel and for continued logistics. And we've got, companies ranging from startups all the way to global Fortune 500, pharmas. So companies like OpenTable in San Francisco, or even Roche Diagnostics, which is a global pharma and biotech company. So we're really just proud of the diversity of candidates that our clients are engaging with today.
So I guess it starts by the person has to apply first, correct? And then Canvas kind of comes into the picture. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a really organic experience that we're certainly supporting, right? So we've got really two ways that engagement can happen. One is the tool certainly can be used for sourcing, so a candidate could text into a number and engage through some basic screening questions and engage with that company. Or after applying or engaging with a company, the recruiters can reach out via text through our platform to that candidate to stay engaged.
Okay. Can they apply through text?
And we do have, what I'd say, companies that are utilizing it, particularly I'd say in the retail space, et cetera, where imagine going from screening to a web-based link all within that text-based experience. So we are seeing that circle being completed via text. Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming you're integrated with some of the ATSs out there. Can you tell us which ones and how that integration works?
Yeah, so we integrate with the majority of the household ATSs that are out there in the marketplace. So in fact, I think in our last press release, Greenhouse was kind enough to support that release and talk about the value that they're seeing in our ATS integration. It essentially allows for seamless data flow between the ATS platform and our interviewing platform. So we're real excited about what we're seeing there, whether it's an integration with a great company like Greenhouse, all the way to smart recruiters, and then even the traditional kind of larger ATSs that are in the space. So that's been part of our strategy from the beginning, and it's been great to execute on that for our clients.
Yeah, I'm curious, Aman. What do recruiters say about this too? I mean, it's texting is, it's not new to them, but it's text recruiting is somewhat of a newer, frontier for them in terms of day-to-day activity like this. What kind of pushback do you get from some recruiters? I mean, what are they saying to you about this stuff?
Yeah, well, I'd say what we're certainly super proud of is the feedback that we receive, right? So our NPS score, for example, is through the roof, right? So we're easily in world-class territory with regard to the Net Promoter Score we're receiving back from recruiters using the platform. So I think the ease of use and their ability to scale their conversations with candidates has been a great one. So, being a product early in the marketplace, there's no doubt that the innovators and early adopters in the space are the ones that are gravitating to companies like Canvas. And in that subset so far, I think, honestly, we've seen really nothing but love, very high usage. We have companies engaging with everything from welders and machinists to software engineers, customer service reps, even pilots, physicians, physical therapists, and nurses. So these are all use cases that have been brought to us because of the efficacy of and response rates that people are seeing via text.
Okay, and the recruiter is not actually on a phone; they're on the website itself doing this, correct?
Yeah. So they do it via our software, but they can certainly engage via their phone by utilizing our iOS or Android app.
Oh, the app. Okay.
So they can certainly work without being tethered to the laptop.
How big is the company at this point, and are you funded?
So we've got great investors that include the previous head of talent for Elon Musk at SpaceX, Jeff Perkins. We've got the previous head of talent for Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Todd Richardson. Our outside board member is the CEO of Cummins, the global diesel engine manufacturer. So we're very, very well funded with a great cadre of investors, and really excited about their willingness to kind of jump into the HR tech world with us and the team. Growth-wise, we've got clients coast to coast across the Midwest, as far away as France. We have people being recruited as far away as Sydney, Australia. So we're incredibly proud of the growth that we've experienced 6 months out of the gate.
Gotcha. All right. What do you think is the major benefit of text interviewing versus just like a phone screen? I mean, tell me something around that in terms of why it's better, you think?
Yeah, so I think one thing to think about is just how many trillions of bits of data have been lost to traditional phone screen, right? So in today's world, Climate Perkins has a lot of data that suggests that people, even for business communication, really have a high preference to not be on voice calls. So you're able to meet candidates, where they are, which is this mobile first world that we all live in. Secondly, as a recruiter, instead of your day feeling like, perhaps best case 6 scheduled phone screens, in our world, you're screening and engaging with 60 candidates. Then, because you capture these conversations, you can do really magnificent things like, for example, gender neutralize or de-identify a transcript by clicking one button through the power of machine learning. So just there's so many net benefits, both from a scale perspective and a experiential perspective, that just aren't necessarily intrinsic to traditional phone calls.
Tell me some examples of companies using it today to recruit talent, use some of your clients, and how they're using it specifically, and what kind of success they're seeing.
So I'd say we've got companies like OpenTable that are leveraging it to basically stand out as an employment brand, right? So when you think about the very heated technology recruiting environment that they're in, they're really looking for tools that allow them to reduce the barrier to entry for conversation with candidates. And then we've got, great companies like Aperio, which is a global consultancy that's leveraging it to screen candidates, as far away as Australia for engineering needs that they're trying to meet. And then even, company types that are like in retail healthcare, like Our Health, where they're doing, corporate health clinics, and they're looking for nurses and professional healthcare staff and be able to engage with people that, it's very difficult to get on the phone for any 20 or 30 minute block as that first touch. And I think what's really important about understanding usage of Canvas, it's not that phone calls or live interviews are going away. It's just that it's not the right first step in the conversation, right? So we really view it as an additional tool for the toolkit, the right tool for the right job, and not this premise that live conversation should go to the wayside, right? But it's certainly a great experience and highly scalable at the top of the funnel. Almost all of our companies are still utilizing traditional interviewing modalities to continue to get to know talent. One example I often use is, imagine if Match or Bumble worked where you scheduled phone screens with the potential life partners that you're interested in. And A, that'd be awkward, but B, it doesn't scale well either. But just like you wouldn't, sign up for marriage, more than likely with someone you'd only had a text-based conversation with, we see that same analogy holding true in the talent marketplace, right? It's a great first step and a great first point of engagement, a great way to get questions answered, and then moving to, a more kind of intimate live interview structure tends to be the preferred medium.
So the speed of it seems to be the real value point there, right? In terms of just you can do more with through the texting. You can engage with more candidates that way, right?
Yeah, engage more candidates, and I think just much higher response rates as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think when the candidate is engaging, if you imagine a friend of yours sending you an interesting article, if they send it to your email versus sending it to you via text, I put money on the table that you probably get to the article in your text inbox a little bit faster than email. And so we're seeing those same opportunities hold true. But I think what's really important, it's the concept of texting, but also having a software platform that has recruiting tools built into it, right? So having a questions library that allows you to organize your questions by the different roles that you're investigating to drive standardization across candidate types, being able to de-identify or gender neutralize a transcript. All those tools are really what make it a rich experience. Being able to hold your, for example, if a candidate asks about your benefits, our system knows to present the benefits document to the recruiter. You click one button and machine learning does the rest, right? So it's really building that suite so it feels like you're a symphony conductor engaging with the candidates that you engage with to get your recs filled.
Yeah, I was on your website today. Your tool also allows you to promote the employer brand a bit. Can you just talk briefly on that?
Yeah, exactly. So imagine a sell sheet or some information about a role. You click one button, it sends it off to that candidate, and you get some engagement information. So when they click that link and they're engaging with a video that you sent right to their mobile phone, you actually get a sense right immediately as to whether they're engaging with that information or not. And so we have experiences where people have been literally kind of hiking the Appalachian Trail, candidate companies engaging with them, and they end up taking a job with said company. So we find that it can work really effectively even for passive candidates who don't want to necessarily set up phone time with a stranger, but also when you're managing high volume active candidates as well, because it's just a great way to ensure that you're touching quality individuals for that role at the top of the funnel.
Aman, what have you learned so far about the role of AI and machine learning in recruiting today? I mean, you've been doing this for 6 or so months now. I mean, what stands out to you so far?
I would say our philosophy, very specifically with Canvas, is that I don't think the world's going to be as black and white as it may seem right now with regard to either AI is taking over recruiting or it's not. I really think that it's this combination of human and machine that's going to lead to the best outcomes. So we're really designing our tool to thread that interesting space there. So the analogy I use is you can't go to the grocery store today and do self-checkout with at least one cashier monitoring, 4 self-checkout registers, right? And the reality is if that one person monitoring was gone, we would be ensured a horrific purchasing experience, right? When we hit those hiccups at the self-checkout register. And I think we ought to really be thinking about the leveraging machine learning and AI in a very similar modality when it comes to our experience with talent, right? And so I do have a lot of concerns for folks that think they're going to jump all in while still ensuring the employment rating experience that they want to receive. And I'd argue that tools like Canvas and others, where they're really taking a blended approach, are the ones that might be the sweet spot on the candidate experience curve, and also still leveraging automation. So I think that's certainly been our observation, and the kind of agenda that we're certainly pushing is that you really ought to look to kind of blended ecosystems. I mean, some of the best chess players in the world, for example, right now are the ones that are leveraging AI alongside a human versus just AI or versus just a human. So we think that analogy still has legs in a world dominated with machine learning and AI conversations in recruiting tech right now.
Do you ever worry that the ATS vendors might get into this game in terms of, using, blending text recruiting into their own product itself?
Yeah, so I think, quite frankly, it's a good thing, right? So I think if we're thinking about how we reach candidates, that's good for everybody. I think, the depth of our interviewing tools and capabilities built inside, that thread of texting is really where we differentiate. So, I think it wouldn't be surprised at all if there's continued interest in texting. Now, I'd also say that we've been very pleased with the interplay and interconnectedness that have been able to achieve really quickly with ATS providers. And so I think there's an appreciation for the depth at which we're doing our work, and especially as these platform providers really, they're all aggressively moving to have a marketplace play, right? Yeah. And really kind of this understanding that they can't solve every point case within the human capital suite. And so I think, quite frankly, I think things are trending in the right direction for people who want to provide really deep solutions in certain categories like Canvas and others.
Did you go to HR Tech this year?
We did. It was amazing. We had a lot of fun, and
first time.
It was our first time being there, and we couldn't have been more thrilled with the response that we received, and really just the ecosystem. There's a lot of impressive work happening, and honestly, I'd say it's humbling and really fun to see just how much creativity, capital, both intellectual and otherwise, is being focused on the HR and talent space right now, and I think it's a really exciting time to be participating in that ecosystem.
Yeah, I tell vendors all the time, there's never been more HR tech than there is right now today. And
exactly.
It's only getting more of it, it seems like. So on that note, Aman, so to me, that means, because I do help some HR tech startups in terms of the marketing and stuff, to me now, as an HR tech company, you really have to, I think, stand out from a marketing standpoint, because there is so much noise out there. Tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing as far as next year, your marketing plan a little bit. Are you doing some content marketing? How many shows are you going to? Can you talk about that briefly?
So we've really been super pleased with, our kind of very earned media-oriented launch. So we had major coverage, both online and print, with, the Wall Street Journal and Quartz, San Francisco Chronicle, Inc., Forbes, Fortune, you name it, Fast Company. So we just couldn't have been more thrilled with the response that we received from traditional media outlets. From there, we really transitioned into, focusing on HR trades and periodicals and kind of the industry verticals. And so, conferences like HR Tech will be important to us. I was invited to speak at a VC talent tech and learning tech conference next year. I'm a speaker at SHRM Talent Management. So we're definitely going to be kind of doubling down in our engagement with the ecosystem in the community. Mm-hmm. I think what's exciting about our marketing efforts, which are very content driven, to your point, right now, is we're receiving just a lot of inbound demand and kind of marketing parlance. So mm-hmm. Many of the deals that we're closing are from companies as far away as France, kind of reaching out and finding hearing about our story and wanting to learn more. We go, we do a demo, and sometimes, literally minutes later, we have signed orders. So it's been really, really exciting time for us as we continue to leverage content marketing to drive that inbound demand.
I have a quick question for you. I'm on your website, and one thing that struck me was it's very minimal, and there's no contact page. Was that specifically done to kind of force people into the demo section, or it's kind of a specific question, but it's something I noticed today when I was looking at it.
Yeah, so I think, we do have some more exciting stuff planned with our site. But I think, what we were really focused on, right, is is the product paradigm, right? So this whole notion that there's a different way that you might be engaging and screening candidates. We let the site at that stage be very, very product focused, and then demo requests have been largely the opportunity where people have been engaging with us. Now, if you go a little bit further down the site, you'll see a more general contact information form that says name, email, find out how, and that's more kind of general purpose inquiries. Yep. Yeah, but yeah, you'll see us continue to do some refining. But we really felt that early on, the focus around the product and the product experience. So typically, what we have is when people will watch the video, they'll be intrigued, they'll schedule a demo with us, and then that demo is really just a great opportunity for us to ask the answer questions, understand what ATS they're on to integrate, and what is this kind of a passive candidate strategy, or is this I got a ton of volume to manage strategy? So it's a really great opportunity for us to engage in conversation and then and help support that recruiting or HR leader with what it's going to take to get that deal done on their end, and helping them navigate budgets, etc.
All right, Aman. So last question for you. Talk about 2018. What kind of trends do you see? What's going to happen next year?
Yeah, so I think we're on the cusp of recruiters. I think philosophically transitioning from maybe just thinking about themselves as a flavor of sales personnel, and really thinking about themselves as marketers. And I think that the best recruiters that are going to continue to shine are the ones that are kind of making that transition, that are able to go from the kind of one-to-one conversation to scalable kind of one-to-many conversations. Mm-hmm. So I think that resolute focus on employment brand experience and really kind of thinking about the world as a marketer, I think is going to be really, really important. Therefore, I think you're seeing tools that are helping companies amplify their brand experiences, et cetera, are going to continue to be at the forefront. I think there's going to be more legs, certainly in 2018, on the machine learning front, the AI front. Lots of efforts being put in by companies like Canvas and others on how to help reduce unconscious bias. So I think those trends are going to continue to stick. But I actually think as we exit 2018, we're going to start seeing things like machine learning as really becoming embedded parts of software. I don't think it's going to be the headline anymore. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get back to the focus of how is machine learning helping you solve an actual business problem. So I think we're still working our way through that curve. So you'll notice in our brand, right, Chris, that we're not marketing machine learning. We're marketing these magical moments that are certainly leveraging AI and machine learning on the back end.
Yeah, recruiters have no idea what machine learning means anyway, so.
Exactly.
No reason to tell them that. Awesome. Well, Aman, we appreciate the time today. Thanks for the information. Good luck with the product, and we'll see you in 2018. Tell us where to go to find more information.
Yeah, see more about us at gocanvas.io. So that's gocanvas.io, and certainly follow us on Twitter at gocanvashq, and look forward to hearing from you.
Nice. Well, we'll link to you in the show notes. And that's going to do it for this edition of the RecTech Podcast. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and now Stitcher Radio. Hey, if you like the show, please leave a review on your channel of choice. I'd love to see your feedback or mention us on social media with the hashtag RecTech. Follow me on Twitter at Chris Russell, or visit rectechmedia.com, where you can find the audio links for the show on our blog. Just a reminder, I'm a consultant that helps both HR tech firms and employers get more clients or candidates. This is the last episode of 2017. I'll be back January 8th with an all-new season of RecTech. Happy holidays, and thanks for listening.